hardly a flat metre on stage 3 through the West Midlands, 152 kilometres from Worcester Racecourse to Wolverhampton via the Malvern Hills and the Severn Valley. 3 major hills on the day, the first 2 of which are Category 1 climbs before a tricky city centre finish. Along the way, the riders passed through the beautiful countryside of the Severn Valley before heading up to Telford and Iron Bridge, birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. The route then swings around to Wolverhampton, passing close to Whittock Manor and its impressive formal Victorian Edwardian gardens. And so we're in Worcester for the start of stage 3, and the big question this morning is, after the crash in Taunton, will all the walking wounded turn up? Perhaps the biggest victim of the crash was Chocolat Jacques' Stephen Cathoven. He finished second on stage 1 and on paper he was the fastest sprinter in the leading group.
I was in second position at 200 metres of the finish, and I hoped to win. But all of a sudden the guy of CSC on the right of me, he hit me very hard, and I lost control of my bike. And I hit the sidewalk very hard, and the other guys, they kept on coming and falling. The next moment, you're lying on the sidewalk in a lot of pain, and you know the victory is gone. The points joist is gone, everything is gone.
Well, I'm pleased to say that Martin Pedersen has made it to the start today after some hard work at the team hotel last night, but I think he'll be wearing a new shirt.
But one rider that hasn't made it to the start is Cathoven. His injuries were too severe, and so he's not in this peloton that's rolling out from the racecourse in Worcester, and they're heading off to Wolverhampton today, a distance of 95 miles. Well, if the day before was tough, I reckon this one is equally as hard, because they've got the Malvern Hills to top and Ankerdine Hill, which is a 17% climb. So it's another opportunity for the riders who are bidding to try and win the King of the Mountains to show their style. It's just cruising out of the city of Worcester, the home of Elgar. And once again, it is an opportunity for the school kids to come out, and they love it. Well, look at this, already an attack beginning to develop, and we've barely left the perimeter of the city of Worcester, and they're on the attack already.
That's a very brave move, Hugh. Kilometre zero on a road like this. He'll be hoping that other riders come with him, because if he stays out there on his own all day, he won't be too happy at dinner.
Well, that was Freddie Bichot of the Agritabol team. Well, I can tell you that he's over 11 minutes behind on GC, so it is a chance then for the low-place riders to go clear, and he's got 2 more riders with him, so we've got a trio now ahead. That's Bichot, Matt Goss of CSC, and Paul Manning of the Great Britain team.
I actually noticed, Hugh, that Paul was sat on the front of the start line, and I think he was up for today.
More riders coming across, and it's easy to note here that the riders that are giving the peloton the slip are all riders that are lowly placed and missed the key move the day before. And this is often what happens in stage races. Everybody can't win the yellow jersey, but lots of riders can win stages along the way, and they've taken their opportunity well. The 3 are going to be joined by 5 more, and that will give us 8 ahead. Now then, the yellow jersey will be watching this move with interest. They will have monitored who are the riders that have gone ahead, and of course they're all wired for sound, aren't they?
Yeah, what happens, Hugh, is the bunch will let a group go, but not too far, and then all the numbers will come back over race radio, and the team leaders will check that off, and if there's no one dangerous in the group, then they might let it go. Obviously, if there's someone dangerous on GC, then they'll soon bring it back. Now,
this is the first climb, Malvern Hills. And the breakdown of the leaders: Goss, Manning, Swift, and Mascant is there, Partridge, Bichot, Dempster and Hammond. And the highest placed rider in this group is Matt Goss, 39th overall at 11 minutes and 15 seconds back. Well, Matt Goss performed very well in the Tour of Britain the other year here, and he finished 3rd on one stage and actually held a yellow jersey before he had to retire with a knee problem. But the Tinkoff boys at the top of the moment do not seem too concerned about this. They're more than happy, I would think, to let these riders go clear. It's just taken a bit of the pressure off them.
Yeah, they're certainly not putting any pressure on themselves at all at the moment. Again, you know, waiting till later on. But just happy to let this group go out.
Keep an eye out for Ben Swift. He'll be challenging very, very strongly for more points in the King of the Mountains. This 19-year-old Yorkshire lad who has had some stunning performances to his credit already. He's got a big future, has Swift, and Swift will be looking to try and increase his tally. He'll be setting his stall out to try and get this King of the Mountains title. At the moment, at the front, it's Manning in that Great Britain jersey. And of course Manning is a current world champion for the team pursuit and a double Commonwealth Games gold medalist from Melbourne. This is the back of the front group. That's number 41, as you can see, Martin Maskant. He's wearing the white jersey, which means he's the leader of the competition on the European circuit. He's actually on the Rabobank team. Ben Swift is just 2 ahead of him, and if Swift does want to pick up some points, he's going to have to make a move. He must have heard me. He's just eased himself out as we're getting very near the summit now, and this is a first category climb, so there's valuable points. It's 10 for first, 8 for second, and it goes all the way down to 8th place. Swift making a big effort here. He's going to overhaul Manning just as they get near to the line, and that's exactly how it finishes. It's Swift then for a maximum 10, and Manning got 8. So the young Rotherham rider picking up very valuable points there.
Young Swifty, 19 years old there. Just imagine how good he's going to be when he actually grows up.
Must admit his baby face belies his strength and determination. There's the result confirmed. Manning was second, he got the 8. Matt Goss was third for 6, and Roger Hammond just cruising over the line in 4th spot for 5. Now the Tinkoff boys will be happy to let this group stay ahead. They'll probably try and keep the gap pegged at around 5 to 6 minutes. Yellow jersey just getting an armchair ride. The back wheel of his teammates, and the Fuerteventura rider is just behind them as well. Glorious part of the country this. From the summit of the climb they will descend quickly, and then they traverse some difficult corrugations before they line up for the climb of Ankerdine, and Ankerdine is a 17% affair, as I said at the top of the stage. Crowd are enjoying this, picking out the superstars as they go by. So the next tough test we're getting very near to now is another first category affair, and this leading group are still together. Ben Swift going well. He'll be keen to try and add more points. One of the team cars coming up.
Yep, bringing some more food and drink up to the riders. You know, these guys are going to be working hard and fairly constant, so they'll need refreshment fairly periodically.
Drinking and eating on the hoof here. They have pockets in the back of the jersey where they carry food, and of course there are official feeding stations along the way where musettes are handed up. Always a very dangerous area as well. If you don't get your arm through the loop of those musette, often there are crashes occur. Well, nice easy pace being set here at the front of the big field, and nobody too bothered at this stage, which is playing into the hands very, very nicely of the leaders. This is the start of Ankerdine. They've just turned a sharp corner at the bottom there. There's a glorious pub actually at the bottom there that serves magnificent food. Can you believe it? I actually rode up this climb the other day for the local television programme, Rob, and it's probably one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life.
Well, more for you, Hugh.
Absolutely, my heart was pounding at the top. I'd forgotten just how hard it was.
I thought those days were over for you.
Well, they are now, I can tell you. And there's Manning on the right, and Swift is at the side of him. Maskant is just to the left of him, and Swift once again over the bars, crouching there as Manning continues to hold the head of the breakaway group. Now then, if Ben Swift could pick another 10 points up here, that would do him a power of good to challenge in the King of the Mountains contest. Getting very near to the top, threading their way under the trees, and the crowd a little bit sparse here in the lower slopes, but they've turned out all along the route. Now then, look out for Ben Swift. When's he going to pounce to try and go past Paul Manning. Manning still content to lead, but here comes Swift on the left. He's such a talent, isn't he, this young fella? He can turn a nifty pedal on the track as well. He's going to be faced with a problem when we get to the London Olympics. It'll be, will he ride on the track or will he ride on the road? So that is a replication of the result of the first two over the top of the Malvern Hills. Just the same, Swift comes over first for 10 and Manning second for 8. So he's building a nice tally of points. Tinkoff still there at the head of the field. There it is confirmed. Goss coming over in 4th spot. And just behind, you can see the rest of the points won't affect Swift's overall challenge for the polka dot jersey. This is the rangy Australian on the front here. This is Zakaria Dempster. He's based in Varese, actually, in North Italy.
Yeah, Zach, he's part of the Australian Institute squad, and it's basically the squad that the British team we've based ourselves on. They've been running for the last 12 or 15 years now and have an extremely good program, and it's one that we're trying to replicate and hopefully have surpassed.
Well, I said the crowds are sparse on the lower slopes of the climb, but just look here. They must be 10 deep in places as they greet the peloton. And they are near enough 4 minutes behind the leaders now. 33 miles covered at this stage, so there's still a long way to go and a lot to play for. But Ben Swift started the day with 8 points in 5th place in the King of the Mountains, and those 20 points that he's now picked up has put him at the head of the table. And there's still one more climb to come. It's a 3rd cat, but there's still points available. There's Swift on the far side, Manning fully concentrated. He was born actually not too far from Wolverhampton, from over on the Cannock Way. Well, there it is, 4 minutes and 19 seconds now. That's a nice, handy working cushion for the leading group.
Yeah, they'll be pretty happy with that. And I also just noticed young Rob Partridge from the recycling team's managed to sneak himself in there. So he's doing himself the power of good.
It's a final climb, this, Sutton Bank. And we're in the Vale of the Severn here, not too far from Ironbridge and Bridge North. Still difficult country. Just see Roger Hammond on the outside, a typical stocky figure of his. And we must never forget, of course, that Roger Hammond's a former junior World Cyclo-Cross champion. But look at this. This is an attack by Matt Goss. Goss has gone for a very early strike for home because we've only covered 78 miles, so we've still got nearly 27 miles to go. But Goss, with a speculative move, just gets clear of the rest. And looked like Ben Swift at the head of that group, just tidying up the 3 points. Well, Ben Swift's had an absolute cracking day in the mountains today. Ryder being detached as well. There it is, Goss first, Swift did get the 3, Manning got the 2, and Hammond picked up the 1. That's the lovely arch in Hightown of Bridge North, a beautiful, beautiful farming community that sits 14 miles outside of Wolverhampton. Now then, we're nearing the finish now, and there's a little bit of cat and mouse stuff beginning to develop. They come down the Bridge North Road to Compton Island, then they swing up the little drag that'll line them up for Chapel Ash, and then it'll be up to the island and right, and a ring road finish that's rising all of the time. Well, riders are being dropped as we go under the kilometre sign. Rob Partridge of Wales and recycling team has lost contact, and Manning is just dangling off the front there. He's got a couple of bike lengths advantage. Goss is left in 2nd position. Then it's Hammond, who's going to make the first big move here to try and tidy the stage up. Now, this is Chapel Ash, and we are getting very close to the finish now. Just ahead of them is the island where they'll swing round to line up for the finishing funnel. And as I said, it is an uphill affair. Getting very, very tense. It's getting very tense. Who is going to lead it out? Manning is in the worst position of all because you never want to lead a sprint out. It's always better to be 2 or 3 back, and you've got the element of surprise then. So Manning will take them round the island. Goss is second, and Goss is a very, very strong sprinter. So this is it, Manning bringing them into sight of the line. and there's a huge crowd here in Wolverhampton greeting them and roaring them on. Goss is over there. This is a move by Freddie Bichot of Agritable, and it is Bichot of Agritable that's leading it out. Here comes the challenge from Goss, and Hammond can't get on terms, and it's going to be the Aussie Matthew Goss that takes it. Goss comes up to the line and takes the stage. Freddie Bichot of Agritable finishes second, and Roger Hammond third. Now, this is Ben Swift. It doesn't matter that he's been detached from the leaders. He's had a fantastic day in the mountains, and he's taken his tally of points to 31, which gives him an emphatic lead in the King of the Mountains over Paul Manning. And he's getting a massive reception. He's getting an absolute glorious welcome to the line here in Wolverhampton. The young 19-year-old will be on the podium later to receive the King of the Mountains jersey. And let me tell you, that youngster from Rotherham will defend that lead to the bitter end.
Well, I had that's what I wanted to do, to get the polka dot jersey so I could wear it for tomorrow, so in my home stage. So hopefully I should have a fairly decent lead now, so hopefully I can keep it till the end.
And here comes the main bunch, and Mark Cavendish in his usual position, winning the sprint to claim 9th on the stage. But it was an opportunity for the riders that missed the key move to Taunton to go away, and in the end it was the sprinting power of the young Australian Matthew Goss that gave him his first victory ever in the Tour of Britain. Wonderful ride by this youngster.
Matt Goss taking stage 3, winning the sprint finish in Wolverhampton ahead of Freddie Bichot and Great Britain's Roger Hammond. Paul Manning, Ben Swift and Rob Partridge all in the top 8. In fact, there were 6 British riders in the top 10. The Australian enjoying his moment on the podium. He wore the yellow jersey for a day in last year's Tour, but this meant more to the young CSC rider.
I was third on a stage 2 CSC rider in the first stage last year, and I got the yellow jersey in bonus sprints, but I think winning a stage seems a lot better to me.
Today's stage didn't have a major impact on the general classification. None of the riders in the break threatened Trusov's lead. He retains the yellow jersey with Luke Roberts in second, ahead of Pete Rujakers. So another day in yellow for Nikolai Trusov, but can he hold on all the way to Glasgow? It's all change in the Eon King of the Mountains competition, with young British rider Ben Swift on top. He led over the Malvern Hills and never looked back.
To get a jersey, it's quite pleasing, so just looked to get in the early move. I knew there'd be an early move with Tinkoff riding, so got in that, and then just took first over the first 2 climbs and then second on the third. So I've built up a fairly decent lead now, so hopefully maybe I'll be able to keep it till they finish of the race. It was just exciting to be up the road, just in the action again, so especially after missing out yesterday. I got in a few breaks yesterday which didn't work out, and then missed the final split, but just to be there, it's feeling good actually.
In the sprints, the new leader is Zachary Dempster from the South Australian team. The national under-23 time trial champion won all 3 sprints in stage 3 to claim the red, white and blue jersey.